Good afternoon, folks. It's a rainy day in North Lincolnshire. I'm sure you're all dying to know about the weather conditions where I live. Anyway, it's awful. But here is an urgent news flash. The rectifier regulator relocation cables that I've been selling now for well over a year worldwide, they need a mounting bracket to put the rectifier regulator in the position that I think is the best, I think, which is underneath the lower steering yoke, what I think our American cousins refer to as the triple tree. There are two threaded holes in there which hold clamps. I've covered this in previous videos. They hold clamps for the braided brake hose and ABS sensor wire on the right there in the picture. And on the left hand side you've got a little wire clamp that holds the speedo sensor cable. So people have contacted me and said, yeah, can I buy these extension cables? And I've sent out many hundreds of them worldwide. But so far I've always had to say to people, well, you're going to need to make a little bracket to put it underneath the steering yoke. And I've had one or two people have contacted me and said, look, you know, I don't know how to make a bracket and I'm not sure I'm competent to do it, and what are the measurements and so on. So to make things easier, I'm now supplying the extension cables complete with the required bracket. So it's the full Monty in one box. So if you decide that you want to relocate your rectifier regulator from under the bike, which as we know is dirty, oily and hot, and move it to underneath the front steering yoke, then this box contains everything that you need to do that. No fabrication necessary, and obviously, as I've said in previous videos, the cables themselves are plug and play. So it's the full thing now, and I'll detail exactly what you get. So this is the rectifier regulator underneath the steering yoke, or triple tree. There is the aluminium bracket complete with a stainless steel flange hex bolt. So that will secure, it's long enough to secure the clamps on the left and the right of the lower steering yoke. As I said before, the clamp that holds the ABS wire and the braided brake hose on one side and the speedo sensor wire on the other. It's long enough to go through those. So you can see from this next photo, there is the bracket itself lying on top of the rectifier regulator unit. Now when you remove that from the bike, you have a couple of bolts that hold that to a metal plate under the bike. So they're just two bolts. So it's a case of keeping those, hang on to those bolts. So you drop the rectifier regulator off the plate under the bike, where it is in the silly position under the bike, and just hang on to those. And I supply, with the full kit, you'll get the two nuts which will enable you to attach the rectifier regulator to the aluminium bar there, using the two stock bolts, but you need nuts. So I'm supplying two flange nuts. So there's the original bolts, look, which are on the bike when you remove the rectifier regulator. So you just hang on to them, and effectively you reverse them. So normally in its stock location those bolts would be the other way around. They'd go through and you'd be seeing a threaded end instead of a hex end. So you just turn them round, and the two holes extreme left and right are exactly correct to put the stainless flange bolts, which I'll provide with the cables, to go through straight into those threaded holes underneath the lower steering yoke. This next photo shows the actual sort of bracket bit. So there's your two bolts, they're the stock ones. Top left on that photo is a stainless flange bolt, a hex bolt, which is used to go into the threaded holes that already are under the lower steering yoke. And as I say, you'll get 2 nuts which will enable that rectifier regulator unit to be bolted firmly onto the aluminium bar. It's 2mm aluminium. It's absolutely 100% up to the job. Now, I know other people have posted on my previous videos and they've made some really good brackets and plates and so on, and I'm not in any way disparaging what they've done, which are truly works of art, some of them, but I've had this on my own bike now for over a year, that bracket there. So it's pretty simple, but it enables the whole job to be done in probably under an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So there it is, look. There's the actual rectifier regulator unit, and the stock bolts are coming through from the far side of the rectifier, and then, as I say, I'll be including 2 hex nuts which are stainless steel, and it's a case of bolting the actual rectifier regulator unit onto the alloy bracket. As you'll see there, you've got your holes extreme left and right, and they will go straight into, or line up with the holes already there, the threaded holes under the lower steering yoke, or triple tree if you prefer to call it that. And I've put a few photos in. It can be easier to install the extension cables if you remove the left hand horn, actually. And this next photo just shows, if you look there, that's the extension cables in place. So they're not connected to the rectifier regulator yet. So those cables have come up from under the bike where the stock location is for the rectifier. Subject to previous videos, you know, you route them up the frame tube and under the fuel tank. So that's what it looks like when both of the extension cables are in place, and they go between the horns. There's quite a lot of cable on the actual rectifier regulator unit itself, so it's you're not straining anything at all, as you'll see in subsequent pictures here. So that's what you'll see when you've got the extension cables in place. I've removed the left horn so I can take a good picture, and you can get in there and do it. So this next photo shows the rectifier regulator actually connected up, and that's with the horn off. It's only a bolt, a nut, so you just undo that nut and drop the horn. You don't even need to disconnect it electrically. So as you can see there, you've got the big 3-pin extension cable on the right hand. It's on the right as it comes in from the right there, and it's connecting actually to the rectifier. And just behind it, you'll see there is the 4-pin, which is the output from the rectifier regulator back to the battery or back to the bike's electrical system. This next photo shows the 4-pin connector, which is, they're easy to do. I've done videos on how to do them and undo them and so on. So this one there, as you can see, that's between the horns. The bottom block there, that's just at the bottom of the picture there, that's the 3-core cable. So that's where the big red slide one will connect. So there's, you do your 4-pin first, or in my case anyway, I did the 4-pin first. The front of the bike is on the left. You can see the frame tube there. So there's bags of wire on the actual rectifier regulator itself. And this next photo shows having connected the 4-pin block terminal. This one now shows the 3-core in place, as you can see from this photo here. So it's not difficult to do. And as I say, I've developed this idea of just providing a simple but absolutely 100% effective bracket, so that now it's the complete relocation kit in a box. I'll put my email address in the video description, so if you're interested in doing this modification, which as I say many hundreds of people have worldwide, then all you've got to do is drop me an email. This next photo shows a side view of the rectifier regulator in place, and there it is. As you can see, the 3-core and the 4-core cable goes either side of the mounting bracket for the oil cooler. It's actually going in that U-shaped top retaining lug thing for the oil cooler. So to those people who have emailed me, I get lots and lots of emails now, which I'm pleased to respond to all of them. I've had a few people recently. One fella in the USA said, you know, I really want to do this, but I just don't know how to make a bracket. I just don't know how to do it. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. So there you go. The solution is at hand, and there's the complete thing, the complete job done. So as you can see, outer left and outer right, you've got these stainless flange bolts that go into the threaded holes on the lower steering yoke, triple tree. You've got the stock bolts that are holding the rectifier actually to that plate, and with 2 stainless flange nuts. So for anybody thinking of doing this modification, it's now the complete kit, and it's absolutely up to the job. It's on my own bike. These are pictures of it on my own bike, so it's absolutely 100% fine. So if you're thinking about doing this, or have thought about it and thought, oh no, I can't make a bracket, you know, there it is. You get the whole thing. So as I say, my email address is in the video description. And just one thing, if you look at that rectifier there, can you see that on the left hand side, the fin there? Look at that, chipped off look. That shows you the kind of damage that can occur to that rectifier in its stock position under the bike. That must have been hit by a stone or something. But yeah. Anyway, so enough waffle from me. The full kit's now available, the full Monty. In the meantime, I doubt anybody is out on their bikes today unless you're a commuter depending on it, because it's absolutely chucking it down with rain. If you are, take extra care, watch out for the rainbows on the road, and I will post again very soon. Bye for now.